We are starting a windshield replacement and repair business. What services can be provided? Entrepreneurs always try to expand the list of their services to increase profits. It is possible not only to replace and repair windshields, but also to sell the glasses themselves and install various types of coatings. For example, anti-rain, protective films, tinting, in accordance with GOST. Installation of glass costs from 2,000 to 2,500 rubles. Anti-rain coverage 1,300 rubles minus all consumables. The net profit for the service will be about 500 rubles. In total, the client will leave from 3,000 to 3,800 rubles in the workshop. Business concept. The potential customer will be the owner of the car, who carefully monitors its condition. Glass replacement is usually needed due to an accident or mechanical damage. It is important to build the right advertising campaign and choose a good location. Not necessarily the city center, preferably near the highway towards country villages or apartment buildings. You can attract customers in the following ways. Location near car services, where there is no glass replacement service. Advertising on bulletin boards, signs with text about the service. Own website and contextual advertising. Advertising on a private car. Business cards in auto parts stores. What will be required for implementation? To implement a business on glass replacement, it is necessary. Rent a service for several cars. Purchase equipment and consumables. To hire a good mechanic. Think over an advertising campaign with profitable offers for customers. Subsequently, customers will recommend the service to their friends and acquaintances, which is also a great way to expand the customer base, and without your efforts. Step-by-step start instructions. Register an individual entrepreneur or LLC. Any business requires payment of taxes, so this stage is extremely important. For the glass repair business, it is enough to open an individual entrepreneur. The costs will be about 3,000 rubles. Specify OKVED for activities. 45. 20. Maintenance and repair of vehicles. Rent a room. You can find suitable offers through special services, or you can place an ad yourself. Tip: it is better to choose a room closer to your home so as not to waste a lot of time on the road. Hire staff. First of all, you will need an administrator and a car mechanic. The work of the administrator can be performed by the entrepreneur himself for the first time to reduce costs. Purchase equipment. You won't need much equipment, mainly materials to eliminate chips and cracks. The purchase will take no more than 50,000 rubles. Obtain permits from the SES and the fire service. Opening and marketing. To get regular customers, you can organize promotions and various discounts. Registration of windshield repair service. To register an individual entrepreneur, you need to prepare a passport and TIN, as well as a check confirming payment of the state duty. The tax service will require both original documents and copies. It is important to fill out the application correctly and specify all the data that is required. Selection of premises. It is better to choose a room near car washes, auto parts stores, tire fittings and other places related to cars. This will allow you to save a lot on advertising. The room should be about 40 square meters, for 2 to 3 cars with an office for the administrator. Necessarily with a good ventilation system, electricity, heating and high-quality lighting. How to choose the right equipment. To work, you will need a set to eliminate cracks and chips. Bridge with an injector. Table with suction cups. Glass removal kit, string and handles, glass knife, sealing knife, all. UV lamp. Scriber. Drill with a diamond drill. Brushes for surface cleaning. Crack expander. Pump. Blades. Syringe for sealant. Pullers for interior panels. Consumables, polymers, polishes, degreasers, lubricants, cleaners. What costs will be required to start and maintain a business? Registration of individual entrepreneurs 3,000 rubles. Rent of premises 30,000 to 50,000 rubles. Equipment 50,000 rubles. Advertising 10,000 rubles. Total 93,000 to 110,000 rubles. Monthly expenses. Rent from 30,000 to 50,000 rubles. Utility bills 4,000 rubles. Salary 60,000 rubles. Consumables for work 10,000. Total 104,000 to 120,000 rubles. Net profit in the glass replacement business will range from 70,000 to 100,000 rubles per month with a customer base of 80 people or more. Risk assessment and business payback period. The main risk is the lack of customers. To avoid this, it is necessary to perform the work very efficiently and at an adequate price, so that people go to you from the other side of the city. If you serve 8 customers daily, you can get 240,000 rubles, excluding monthly expenses, then in a little less than a year you can recoup all costs. What should I consider when opening a car glass repair shop? Replacement and repair of windshields is not an easy job that needs to be done conscientiously. There is a clear sequence of actions for proper repair, so it is necessary to hire a real professional in this field, and a big plus if the entrepreneur understands the topic himself. Business in the production of HB gloves, an idea for a successful business. Business features and competition in the market. The profitability of glove production is about 30%, as evidenced by both surveys of owners of such a business and expert reviews and assessments. The main advantage is the minimum need for working hands, since the main part of production is an automatic process. Also, an undoubted advantage is the low cost of consumables. The price of cotton yarn does not exceed 100 rubles per kilogram. Before considering the production of gloves as a business idea, it is necessary to analyze competitors in the region. Namely, find out if there are such enterprises in the city and region. Pay attention to shops selling garden equipment and other household goods. To study demand, to do an audit on requests in the region. Find out the average cost of products, both wholesale and retail. To study the varieties of CB gloves to understand which one is most in demand. Before opening your own workshop from scratch, you need to think over and draw up a clear business plan for the production of gloves. This will allow you not to burn out and develop the case as quickly as possible. Step-by-step plan for starting a business. There are 2 options for developing your own business in this direction: buy a ready-made business for the production of nitrile and cotton gloves, or open it from scratch. Let's take a closer look at the second option. We select a place to place the production hall. We determine the production technology. We purchase the necessary equipment and consumables. We register a business. We hire staff. We determine the points for the sale of goods. We are developing a marketing plan for further development. If each of the above points is carefully considered and worked out, the production of cotton gloves as a business will begin to make a profit 3 months after the opening. Organization and establishment of production. The business must be registered. The choice of legal form, IP or LLC, will depend on the further plans of the entrepreneur: large-scale production or a small workshop within the city. For a novice businessman, it is better to focus on an individual entrepreneur, since his opening entails less reporting. Production of work gloves as a business does not require a license. After it goes uphill, you can register your own brand, get quality certificates. But these items are not mandatory, they are carried out at the discretion of the owner. Selection of premises and personnel. The production area can be located both within the city and outside it. The room must meet the following standards. From 70 to 90 square meters. Availability of all communications, heating, water supply, sewerage, electricity. Equipment of a good ventilation system. Availability of a convenient access for unloading and loading. It is also necessary to organize a separate room for staff, a locker room, a bathroom. The smoking area, if available, must be isolated from the common space and equipped with a separate exhaust system. First of all, the state will require seamstresses, 2 people for machines and 1 for working on an overlock. Machine operators, equipment adjuster, worker on the packaging machine. You will need the services of an accountant and a driver, as well as a loader and a master of cleanliness. The number of employees will depend on the planned work schedule. What equipment is required for the production of HB gloves? The set of necessary equipment includes knitting machine, glove overlock, PVC coating machine, packaging machine. Production technology. Gloves are selected by consumers based on the conditions in which they will be applied. The basis is always cotton fabric, which during the production process is supplemented by polyester, which performs a reinforcing function, and a synthetic thread. The latter makes finished products more elastic, improves wear resistance. The manufacturing technology is very simple: knitting, blanks, overlock cuffs, PVC coating, packaging. How much money do you need to produce HB gloves? Production of construction gloves as a business implies average investment. The most expensive item is the purchase of equipment. Purchase of machines, from 1,500,000 rubles. Purchase of raw materials, from 300,000 rubles. Rent of premises for the workshop, from 30,000 rubles. Funds for remuneration for employees, from 100,000 rubles. Utility bills, taxes, from 30,000 rubles. In total, the minimum investment to start a business is about 2 million rubles. How much can you earn on the production of HB gloves? With 22 working days per month, 33,000 plus products can be manufactured on one machine. The cost of one pair is about 6 to 7 rubles. With a wholesale cost of 12 rubles per pair, the profit minus all expenses will be about 80,000 rubles. Business in the production of cotton gloves, judging by the feedback of entrepreneurs, fully pays off in 1.5 to 2 years. Promotion of goods and sales organization. First of all, you need to decide whether the emphasis will be placed on wholesale or retail sale of goods. To find buyers, you need to carefully think over your marketing strategy. The following directions can be applied. Personal meetings and negotiations with customers. Development of an online store or landing page with a product catalog. Creating groups in social networks. Attracting promoters to posting leaflets. Printing advertising booklets, sending KP to entrepreneurs. To start, it is enough to use a couple of the proposed options, which are better to run immediately before starting a business. Then the first orders will not be long in coming. How to open a Hinkal, build a business from scratch. Features of Hinkal business. Hinkal as a business has many advantages. Simple functionality, availability of ingredients for cooking, relatively small investments, low competitiveness and the ability to scale. It is necessary to decide in what format the institution will be: a diner, a bar, a cafe, a restaurant. As a rule, snack bars have simple recipes and a rather limited assortment. Bars usually do not offer a wide selection of dishes. Most often the bar specializes in one type of hinkali. The cafe already has more variety in types of dishes, as well as in the restaurant, which differs from the cafe with a high level of service and entertainment. Analysis of the market and competition in the niche. If we consider establishments in Moscow, the main competitors are the Oriental restaurant, Chaykhana, and Georgian restaurants, Natakhtari, and Sapuravi. But in the regions there is almost no competition. All institutions, as a rule, are in one copy. What you need to open the Hinkal. To open a Khinkalnaya, you need startup capital, approximately 500,000 to 1,400,000, register an enterprise, decide on the premises, purchase equipment, hire employees, as well as develop a promotion strategy and menu. As for the menu, it is best to adhere to traditional recipes, with beef, pork and beef, with lamb, cheese and herbs. It is recommended to serve dishes in 4 portions. The average price of a Hinkali portion is 300 to 350 rubles. What documents are needed to open? If the institution plans to sell alcoholic beverages, it is necessary to register an LLC, and to reduce costs it is enough to register an individual entrepreneur. The entrepreneur must agree on the project of the premises in the control bodies and obtain permits from Rosporibnadzor. Since this is catering, it is necessary to pass the SES inspection and obtain approval from the fire inspection. In addition, it is necessary to conclude contracts with companies for garbage removal, disinfection, solid waste, duratization and disinfection of premises. A special license will be required to sell alcohol. How to choose the right place. To open Hinkkalnaya as a business, it is not necessary to choose the city center. The institution can also be located in a residential area. As for the room itself, it must meet all regulatory requirements and be provided with the necessary resources, such as water, heating, sewerage, electricity, ventilation, fire detectors. The area of the institution should be from 100 square meters to 150 square meters, and for the convenience of customers it is possible to make parking of at least 100 square meters. What equipment will be needed? It is best to choose imported equipment, which will reduce the cost of frequent repairs. What do you need? Ovens, electric stoves, meat grinders, hobs, dough mixer, dishwasher, refrigerators, freezers, racks, counter, kitchen utensils, containers. The hall for visitors to Hinkkalnaya needs to be equipped with furniture, buy textile products, cutlery and decor items. Recruitment. For the full-fledged work of Hinkal, about 10 to 15 people are required. Director. Administrator 2. Chef. Universal cook 2. Waiters 3 to 4. Cashiers 2 to 3. Dishwashers 2, and hall workers 2. We also need a person who will promote Hinkal. It can be either an agency or a private PR manager. It is best to organize work from lunchtime to late evening. Hinkali is a high-calorie dish and not everyone prefers heavy food for breakfast. To comply with labor legislation, you need to introduce a shift schedule. Staff must have medical records and undergo a medical examination every day before starting work. How much does it cost to open a Hinkal? Investments for opening, rub. Registration and permits 50,000. Repair 150,000 to 180,000. Signboard 30,000 to 50,000. Advertising 30,000. Rent of premises and parking 250,000 to 300,000. Equipment 500,000. Total, approximately 1 million rubles. Monthly expenses. Salaries of employees 300,000 to 400,000. Rent 150,000. Depreciation 10,000. Utilities 10,000 to 15,000. Advertising 30,000. Accounting 10,000. Purchase of raw materials 1,500,000. Total, 2 million rubles. How much can you earn on Hinkal? To increase the average check, you can add salads, desserts and similar dishes, khachapuri, chocopili, alcohol to the menu of restaurants and cafes. But, according to experts, even with the increase in prices for these dishes, the payback period is 1.5 to 2 years. Therefore, it is most profitable to organize a business in the format of a Kinkel snack bar, which will significantly reduce the cost of both opening and maintenance. With certain efforts, the yield per day will be about 30,000 rubles or 900,000 per month, but such indicators will be in about 3 months of work. After all, citizens need time to get acquainted with the institution. With these income, the net profit of Hinkel, taking into account all expenses, should be about 100,000 rubles per month. Possible business risks. The Hinkel opening project has quite low risks. The process does not require any complex tasks. The main factor is not achieving sales volumes. The problem is solved by revising menu prices, advertising campaigns, profitable offers and promotion in social networks are created. Seasonality is also a serious factor. The solution is the launch of the summer menu, the organization of a summer cafe. How to open a seafood store. Idea for a profitable business. Starting capital is required to open a seafood store. Next, rent a room, analyze the market and choose the form of business. In addition, collect all documents and permits, purchase equipment and hire staff. Also, do not forget about advertising, for which you also need to lay a budget. This includes a sign, advertising posters about the imminent opening, about promotions, for example, every Thursday. You can also hire a promoter who will distribute leaflets next to the store. Market analysis. There are quite a lot of competitors both in the capital and in the regions, so you should be different from them. Before renting a room, you need to analyze all fish shops in the selected area. Specialized seafood stores are your competitors. Explore their prices and assortment to make more favorable conditions for buyers and meet demand. Choosing a form of business. Collection of documents and permits. It is enough to open an individual entrepreneur for a seafood store. To do this, you need to contact the tax office or the nearest MFC. What documents are needed? Passport and copy. Application for registration. Receipt of the paid state duty. OKVED codes. For a fish store, 47. 23 Retail trade in fish, crustaceans and shellfish in specialized stores. In addition, you need to choose a taxation system. For a seafood store, a simplified taxation system is suitable, income minus expenses, and the difference between these values is subject to 15% tax. After opening an individual entrepreneur, it is necessary to prepare a permit to do business. For this you need to contact Rosporibnager, the fire inspectorate and SES. After successful checks, appropriate permits will be issued. Permission to open a store. Sanitary and epidemiological conclusion from Rosporibnager. Conclusion of the fire inspection. Contracts for periodic disinfection, duratization of the premises. Contract for regular maintenance of air conditioners with cleaning and disinfection. Contract for the export of solid waste. Stages of opening a seafood business. As mentioned above, it is necessary to assess the market, visit the points of seafood stores. Then draw up an organizational plan that includes the selection of premises, purchase of equipment and search for personnel. The next step will be to register an individual entrepreneur, prepare documents and find suppliers. One of the most important points is the compilation of the assortment. The most popular positions are frozen fish, dried and dried fish, cold and hot smoked fish, salted fish, canned food, seafood, caviar, semi-finished products, seasonings, sauces. It is worth paying attention to promotion, for example, to create accounts in social networks, arrange a small draw for a subscription. And also do not forget about the financial plan, income and expenses. Read more about it later. Selection of the right place. For a seafood store, you need to choose a room whose area should be at least 60 square meters with all the necessary communications. The room must meet the requirements of the SES, ventilation, water supply, sewerage and fire extinguishing system. It is better to open the store itself in a densely populated area, where there will be a minimum number of competitors. The best location is close to other food outlets, vegetable, meat. What equipment will be needed? To open a mini market, it will be enough to buy showcase, racks, counters, cash register, scales, refrigerator and freezers. If you plan to trade in live fish, you need an aquarium. For smoked products, hooks. And to store salmon, you need to buy a stainless steel table with ice. What kind of staff is needed? The minimum staff is as follows: administrator, order of goods, financial statements, control over the work of personnel. These functions can also be performed by the entrepreneur himself. Sellers, 2 people in shifts. Cleaner. How much money do you need to open? A seafood store, like any business, requires a startup investment. State duty on the opening of an individual entrepreneur 800 rubles. Rent 20,000 to 30,000 rubles. Repair 10,000, minimum cosmetic. Equipment 150,000 to 200,000. Signage 7,000 to 10,000. Advertising 10,000. Total, approximately 200,000 rubles. Monthly expenses. Salaries of employees 50,000 to 80,000 rubles. Utility payments 10,000 rubles. Rent 25,000 rubles. Purchase of goods 100,000 rubles. Total, approximately 130,000 rubles. Possible profit from the seafood business. Profit depends on the effectiveness of advertising campaigns and purchasing power. On average, the cost of 1 kilogram of products is 200 rubles. If you sell 30 kilograms per day, plus sell additional sales of related products 1,500 to 2,000 rubles per day. 30 kilograms per day multiplied by 30 days equals 900 kilograms per month fish sale. 200 rubles multiplied by 900 kilograms equals 180,000 rubles per month. 60,000 rubles per month from the sale of related products. Total, 240,000 rubles total profit. To calculate net profit from total income, subtract monthly profit. 240,000 to 130,000 equals 110,000 rubles per month. It is worth considering that buyers need time to get acquainted with the store, and also do not forget about the initial investments. It will be possible to reach such an income in 1 to 2 years. Cutting glass as a business. Features and prospects. Features of the glass cutting business. It is necessary to understand what glass techniques exist. Diamond cutting of glass. Sandblasting. Liquid cutting excius equipment will be required. To begin with, it is enough to use diamond glass cutters and sandblasting devices. One of the difficult points is to find suppliers who will be able to produce the first batch in installments. Usually suppliers deliver glass in fairly large volumes, 100 square meters boxes. The cost of 1 square meter is about 120 rubles. A novice entrepreneur does not always have a large amount of investments. And if it is possible to find such suppliers, the initial capital will be very small. In addition, you can earn money by cutting glass of balconies, mirrors, stained glass windows, patterned glass for interior doors, aquariums. The markup is 30 to 40%, and if the work is more difficult, for example, corrugated glass, up to 50%. It is better to make free shipping for large orders. And small ones, usually customers pick up by self-delivery. Step-by-step plan for opening a glass cutting business. As for any business, a clear plan is needed. We advise you to stick to this algorithm of actions. Analyze the sales market. Make a business plan and follow it. Search for suppliers of raw materials. Conclusion of the contract. Find a room and rent it. Purchase equipment. Develop a small advertising campaign, business cards, ads. Recruitment. It's not difficult to find workers to cut glass. Usually, the employee's adaptation is about 2 weeks. Piecework wages. The amount of wages depends on the amount of work performed. Approximate payments to 2 carvers will amount to 30 to 50,000 rubles. Which room to choose for cutting glass? There are no requirements for the glass cutting room, except for Sampan 2. 4. 548 to 96 standards. Only the presence of a supply and exhaust ventilation system and heating is important. The minimum area is 30 square meters. Of these, 20 square meters is the room itself, and 10 is a warehouse of finished glass and raw materials. Rent can be chosen even in the basement. The cost depends on the region. On average 10 to 15,000. What equipment to choose for cutting glass? To cut glass, you need to purchase cutting table, glass cutters, minimum 2. Diamond cutting equipment for processing ends, artistic engraving. Sandblasting plant. How much can you earn? Sliced finished glass is sold for 500 rubles per square meter. A mini glass cutting shop can bring up to 200,000 per month. What documents are needed to open? For the glass cutting business, it is enough to open an individual entrepreneur. When registering, specify OKVED. 1 Production activities related to glass. 44 Painting and glass works. 44 Wholesale of glass products. 46 Trade in glass products. You need a passport and a taxpayer code. The STS system, simplified taxation, is enough for this type of activity. All you need is to choose to pay 6% of income or 15% of profit, income minus costs. If you choose the second option, documentary confirmation will be required. In addition, it is necessary to obtain permission from the fire inspection to work. No additional licenses and certificates for activities are required. How much money do you need to start a business? Such investments will be required to start a business. Rent of premises 15,000 rubles. Equipment and additional acquisitions 500,000 rubles. Glass cutters, from 15,000 rubles. Glasses of different thicknesses, from 100,000 rubles. Risk assessment and business payback period. The risks in this case are minimal. Cutting glass will always be relevant, it is only important to competently make an advertising campaign. Payback periods directly depend on the amount of work performed. So, if the investment is 650,000 rubles when earning 200,000 per month, you can recoup the business in 3 to 4 months. Production of stamps and seals, an idea for a startup. What you need to start a business on stamps and seals. Many companies and legal entities use electronic tools, including stamps, but the demand for such goods remains at a high level. Not all firms are technically equipped to put an electronic signature, and state and municipal structures are slowly switching to electronic document management. No matter how rapidly the computer industry develops, the demand for seals will continue for decades. To make money on the manufacture of seals and stamps, you need a competent business plan. You need to think about how to expand the range of services and provide customers with impeccable service. It's difficult in megacities, there are many similar companies. There are fewer of them in the regions, as well as consumers. What you need to start a business on stamps and seals. The business will not work if the entrepreneur does not understand the technology of printing. There are several of them. It is recommended to choose one direction, a photopolymer technique, which is the cheapest, but of high quality. The second suitable option is vulcanization. It is time-consuming. The output is a product with a pungent smell of rubber, but with perfect print quality, an excellent solution for small businesses. Flash technology is suitable for larger production, simple and requires a minimum of action from the employee. Seals are uneven, compact and easy to operate, but only one copy can be made in one working cycle. Laser engraving is a modern solution, but consumables and equipment are expensive. Such a device is available to large companies or those who have decided to expand the range of services. What documents are needed to open? A license is not necessary. It is enough to obtain the status of an individual entrepreneur or switch to a simplified tax payment system. You can register an LLC with an authorized capital of at least 10,000 rubles, but you will have to resort to the help of lawyers and face bureaucracy. Some regions provide benefits and state subsidies for tax payments to those who own a seal business. What documents are needed to open? How to choose the right place? A promising place is required. It is important for the client to quickly find an office, drive up and park. The best solution is to rent premises in or within walking distance of business centers, so potential consumers will be there. Another good place is not far from state and municipal institutions, where document management is carried out and your goods are needed. 15 to 20 square meters will be enough to do the business. The main thing is that there is a supply of water, electricity and heat. Necessary equipment and recruitment. High-quality equipment is required to make seals and stamps, otherwise the businessman will suffer losses. You will need exposure camera, dry heat, automatic washing. It is necessary to equip the office with furniture and stands and purchase licensed software for creating layouts. One person is enough for production, but to provide the client with high service, find consumers and promote the company, you will need personnel. Necessary equipment and recruitment. How much money do you need to open? The production of seals and stamps requires serious investments from the future businessman. Item of expenditure. Amount in rubles. Comments. Registration. 8,000 to 14,000. Depends on the form. Rent of premises. 20,000. Monthly. Equipment and consumables. 100,000 750,000. Depends on the brand. Office equipment. 100,000. At the discretion of the individual entrepreneur. Buy. 30,000. One time. Website development and promotion. 50,000 to 150,000. Depending on the experience of the specialist. Advertisement. 10,000 to 20,000. Monthly. Expense indicators vary from the desires of a businessman who is engaged in the manufacture of stamps and seals and his material capabilities. You can save on office furniture. Practice shows that you can start a business with a minimum amount of 150,000 rubles. How much can you earn on the production of stamps? Production and sale of stamps and seals is an area where the income of a businessman depends on the number of customers. A beginner can count on profits from 15,000 to 25,000 rubles per month. In megacities, well-known firms earn hundreds of thousands. The cost of one stamp is from 40 to 50 rubles, and business firms sell goods on the market for 250 rubles per copy. The price is affected by the sales areas, the equipment used and the quality of products. Payback occurs in 5 to 12 months, depending on the activity of the individual entrepreneur and the experience of a full-time marketer. How much can you earn on the production of stamps? Possible risks. The main risk is high competition. It is difficult to quickly create high service and perfect quality. To assess the situation, you need to analyze competitors and their products. How many such companies operate in the region? List of services provided. Equipment used. Quality based on real reviews. Advertising campaigns. Price list. Statistics on the number of new registered LLCs in the field will be required to understand how many customers can be counted on. It is better to work on your own. Full trust in specialists often leads to failure. Business such as the production of stamps brings good profit, but requires investments. The minimum cost indicator is 150,000 rubles. Rapid growth of the customer base is noted in megacities. There is demand in the regions, but competition is high. How to open a pharmacy on the internet, step-by-step instructions. Advantages of business, online pharmacy. Wide audience coverage. Your clients can be residents of the whole country, not the nearest neighborhood. 24-hour sales. The trading platform is always available to potential buyers. Anonymity of orders. Medicines or funds that customers are embarrassed to ask for in a crowded pharmacy, they fearlessly order online. Rich assortment. When sales are made from stock, all the necessary items are almost always available to customers. A small staff. You will need packers, couriers, operators to process orders, security guards for the warehouse. Regardless of sales volumes, only one pharmacist will be enough in the team. The only drawback of the idea of opening a pharmacy on the internet is the lack of digital literacy of pensioners, who rarely use online services to make purchases. But this is a significant segment of the target audience. Competent contextual advertising aimed at the children of elderly parents, convenience and maximum simplicity of the application will help to partially smooth out the situation. What documents are needed to open an online pharmacy? The already mentioned Law No. 105/FZ tells in detail how to open an online pharmacy from scratch. So, despite the remote format of work, you will need to get license for pharmaceutical activities, permission from the Federal Service for Supervision of Healthcare. You will also need to register an LLC. When you find a room for a warehouse and/or office, go to Sanpin and the fire inspection. These services must issue permits to operate the premises. In addition, all employees of the online pharmacy are required to have sanitary books. Requirement for premises for online pharmacy warehouses. The idea of opening a pharmacy on the internet is good because you will only need warehouses, but not sales areas. The warehouse should be spacious, equipped with a ventilation system with the ability to control air temperature and humidity. The most convenient location is near post offices, if you are going to send orders by mail, and near the parking lot, if the courier service will deliver. In the room you will need to install air condition monitoring sensors, fire protection system, security alarm system. Thinking about how to open a pharmacy on the internet, you will surely face a dilemma: rent a room for warehouses or buy. If you are just starting a business and do not have an impressive startup capital, rent, but try to conclude a long-term contract. Later it will be possible to think about buying your own space. Necessary equipment. To equip warehouses, you will need racks, refrigerators, safes, cash registers, office equipment. Also, do not forget about office furniture for employees, tables and armchairs. Since security will be here around the clock, buy a microwave, kettle, a minimum set of dishes. Approximate costs for equipment and furniture are 300,000 to 500,000 rubles. If the room needs repair, set aside about 200,000 rubles. Since the walls and floor will be often disinfected, the best option for finishing material for both walls and floor is ceramic tiles. Website for business. Online pharmacy. You can use the services of marketplaces, but it is still better to create your own resource. This way you will get maximum freedom in doing business, and customers will take your company much more seriously. The main requirements for the sales site: convenient, intuitive interface, noticeable buttons for placing orders, availability of basket management functions, availability of instructions for drugs, photos of packaging, description of the working and payment conditions. Important, don't forget to place your license on the site. Delivery and payment for medicines. The online pharmacy you plan to open can deliver in 2 ways. By mail, not suitable for drugs that need special storage conditions. By courier is the most convenient option, as customers will be able to receive an order quickly and directly to the apartment door. Experienced pharmaceutical businessmen also advise to organize the possibility of self-delivery when customers arrive at the warehouse and pick up the collected order. In a large city, it is better to organize several pickup points. To pay, connect all payment systems available in the country, including e-wallets and even cryptocurrency. Also leave customers the opportunity to pay in cash. How much money does it take to open an online pharmacy? So, we figured out how to open an online pharmacy and move on to calculations. The amount of initial investments will be about 3 million rubles. Expenses will vary depending on the city and assortment, but the approximate list of items will look like this. Item of expenditure. Amount. Registration of LLC, obtaining permits. 20,000. Rent of premises for the first month. 30,000. Repair. 200,000. Purchase of equipment, furniture. 500,000. Installation of alarms, control sensors. 200,000. Payroll for the first month. 60,000 to 100,000. Site development. 200,000 to 300,000. Purchase of the first batch of goods. 1. 5 million. Advertisement. 50,000. How much can you earn on selling medicines on the internet? Reflections on how to open an online pharmacy should eventually result in a detailed business plan. Only calculations will allow you to accurately assess the profitability of the idea. We give only approximate figures. Thus, the average turnover of an online pharmacy is 1 million rubles per month. Taking into account the commodity margin of 28 to 30% and minus monthly expenses, the monthly net profit will be 200,000 to 300,000 rubles. Accordingly, it is possible to recoup the investment in 10 to 15 months. Possible risks. Businesses on creating an online pharmacy are threatened by unfavorable purchase prices. Carefully look for suppliers. Team up with colleagues for wholesale purchases. Short shelf life of the goods. Control this issue when purchasing and do not purchase drugs that do not have long to be stored. Lack of demand. Before making an assortment, analyze the most popular categories of medicines. And if you don't want to take risks, invest in the purchase of a ready-made online pharmacy. Brokers of Altera Invest will conduct a detailed audit of the project and take over the full support of the transaction. Beekeeping as a business. How to open your apiary from scratch. The main thing you need to know before implementing the business idea of beekeeping. If you are going to earn money by selling honey, first of all decide on the breed of bees. The most popular in Russia. Bee breeds. Overview. Caucasian. Give a lot of honey, but whimsy and care, sensitive to frost, often die due to diseases. Carpathian. It's easier to tolerate wintering, they store a lot of honey even in the absence of a large number of flowers. Backfist. Bees are resistant to diseases, but hives need to be insulated for the winter. Ukrainian steppe. The rock most resistant to low temperatures gives a large amount of honey. It is better to plan the start of the business at the beginning of spring, when the winter ends. Then the bee package, a composition of bees selected from different families for sale, will have time to increase its number over the summer, live the hive, prepare it for the coming winter. And in the new season it will bring its owner a good profit. This is how the beekeeping business usually develops from scratch. In addition to bee packages, you can buy a ready-made overwintered family, in a swarm or in a hive. This is a turnkey option of the apiary, which will significantly simplify the organization of business. The cost of one hive, depending on the breed of bees, is 7,000 to 10,000 rubles. The minimum yield for one season in the driest areas is 30 to 60 kilograms of honey. When it is worth registering an apiary as a business. The business idea of creating an apiary is very attractive, but do not rush to register. The first season, while the bee family settles, devote to studying the subtleties of beekeeping, learn how to pump pure honey, buy the necessary equipment. It makes sense to register an individual entrepreneur only when you receive the finished products in an amount sufficient even for wholesale sales. Positive aspects: subsidies are available to beekeepers in 2022. Therefore, when you decide to officially start a business in the apiary, apply for help on the website of the state services. You can compensate for the costs of keeping bee families, purchase of queens and bee packages, advertising of various exhibitions and fairs related to beekeeping, conversion, purchase of new equipment that allows you to develop an apiary. Important: subsidies are provided only to those businessmen who have purchased 50 or more hives. Honey production business formats. The business of beekeeping and honey production is usually divided into 3 formats, depending on the scope. Business format. Overview. Home. 1 to 5 dozen bee colonies. They are located in the country house, backyard. The beekeeper is required to have minimal costs for organization and care. Usually the retail sale brings income. Middle. 600-2,500 bee families. Additional workers are needed to care for hives, transport, possibly land lease. Simultaneously with retail sales, it makes sense for entrepreneurs to look for buyers to purchase wholesale lots. Industrial. More than 2,500 families. Beekeeping as an industrial business often involves special sowing of fields with buckwheat, rapeseed, sunflower. Then farmers sell not only bee products, but also crops harvested from the fields. Search for a place for the development of beekeeping as a business. Feedback from beekeepers. When choosing a location for the location of the apiary, remember the following points. Bees are aggressive insects, so it is important to place hives even in winter away from busy streets, city noise. It is advisable to place an apiary in the distance of water bodies. During the flowering of honey plants, it is permissible to transport the apiary to the nomadic so that bees can safely collect nectar. For this purpose, some beekeepers buy special vans. So, you can install hives in the garden of your own dacha, and in the summer take them to the fields with a blooming burdock, sunflowers. Apiary for 100 hives, costs and payback. On our website you will definitely find business plans for beekeeping. These are ready-made models adapted to specific regions. So that you can roughly imagine what the honey business is, we have prepared for you an approximate plan for creating an apiary of 100 hives. Buying bee bags. So, the first step is to buy a bee bag. Its average cost is 10,000 rubles. Accordingly, the purchase of 100 hives will cost you 1 million rubles. By purchasing bee bags from one seller, you may be able to arrange a discount. Important: to care for such a number of bees, you will have to immediately hire assistants. It is also mandatory to swelling fields, which means that the purchase and equipment of the van. How to choose a hive system. The second important point is the choice of a hive system. There are three main ones. Hing system. Overview. Dadana Blada. As natural as possible for bees, easy to transport. At the same time, it is difficult for beginners. Langstroth Ruta. A kind of previous system with reduced size of the body and frames. The most popular hive system in beekeeping, suitable even for beginners in business. Sunbed. Convenient for novice beekeepers. At the same time, it is too heavy to transport to the nomadic, so it is used only in small home apiaries. Additional costs for business development in beekeeping. Item of expenditure. Amount of expenses. Carriage truck for taking out a bee family for a nomadic, used. 250,000. Special protection, several replaceable suits, clothes for workers. 10,000. Smoker, 2 PCs. 4,000. Chisels, scrapers. 1,000. Metagonka. 40,000 to 90,000. Salary to the assistant for the season. 40,000 to 100,000. Total. 345,000 455,000. Return on investment. In the middle zone of Russia, one hive brings 60 to 80 kilograms of commercial honey during the season. The exact volume depends on the breed of insects, the number of flowers in the area, proper care, professionalism in pumping. Accordingly, in the season, beekeeping as a business for 100 hives brings 7,000 kilograms of honey. The retail price of 1 kilogram of honey varies between 400 - 1,000 rubles. Thus, the income of the apiary will be at least 2,800,000 rubles, which will allow you to recoup the investment in the first year of operation. Possible risks of beekeeping as a business. When studying beekeeping as a business, calculating profitability, be sure to take into account the possible risks. Diseases. Monitor the condition of families, sound the alarm if an epidemic develops. Unsuccessful wintering. Bees can die due to lack of food, cold, so be sure to insulate the hives, leave enough food in them. Bad harvest. Transport the apiary to new places if you see that honey plants are not enough. Difficulties with sales. If you are thinking about wholesale sales, do not skimp on a marketer. Theft. Be sure to insure hives and business to compensate for possible losses. Sale of bee products. Creating an apiary that brings commercial honey is only half the work. An equally important task is to create a sales channel. If you do not want to organize storage, invest in advertising, offer your products to wholesalers, supermarket chains. But remember, retail sales allow you to earn much more. Therefore, think about these ways of implementation. Online store. Beekeeping is a profitable business, so creating your own website will definitely pay off. Less expensive ways are to sell honey through marketplaces, social networks, bulletin boards. Own outlet. Small stalls work perfectly near the road, inside large shopping centers, near markets, railway stations. Fairs. Beekeepers are regularly invited to large honey fairs, where buyers come directly for beekeeper products. Experiment, combine formats to get the most out of beekeeping as a business.